This is Rudkowski of WeAreChange.org here in Berlin, Germany, and I'm joined by the one and only Annie Machon, a brilliant mind, a whistleblower, a very courageous human being who whistleblowed on very important things happening with the British government and British intelligence agency when it comes to the Middle East. Now, there's a lot of conversations, there's a lot of attention in the mainstream media about Israel, a lot of attention with ISIS and Iraq, but there's not a lot of attention with Libya, and there's a lot of things happening right now that not a lot of people know about. Now, Annie, with your experience in Libya, with you having a lot of knowledge of the region, with you whistleblowing specific things about the region, what's happening there and why is it happening?
Well, I think the best way to summarize it is that it's a goddamn clusterfuck. We have a situation where an entire country has been destabilized, where whole populations are being terrorized, and where we've seen the rise of Islamic fundamentalism, which manifests in different competing militias, which are now fighting each other. And in fact, what's going on this week, it's been completely overshadowed with events in Ukraine and events in Syria and events in Gaza. But what's going on this week is a major battle being waged over control of the Tripoli airport, where planes are being bombed on the tarmac and things. And across the whole country, different regions, different militias are going out and being vigilantes and creating mayhem and killing people and raping women and everything. So the whole country's been destabilized since the fall of Gaddafi. And the other unforeseen outcome of this was Libya has now become a major transit route from Latin America through North Africa into Europe for the drug trade. Wow. So under Gaddafi, who was a strongman, drugs were virtually unheard of in Libya. Now, Libya has become a narco state, and these militias are controlling that trade, which is bad enough. Mm-hmm. We've also seen as well, though, instances of addiction and drug use and, of course, the spread of disease exponentially rise in Libya. So the people are being screwed every which way since this toppling of this evil dictator.
Yes, because the U.S. government and also the mainstream media was saying that we have to stop Gaddafi for humanitarian reasons, but look what happened now because of everything. You also uncovered the plot of the British government trying to assassinate him way before the Americans even got involved, way before all the bombing of the region even happened. But with everything happening right now in Libya, what are the key players? And the area is very destabilized, but where do you see it going, and what role do you see Libya playing in all of the Middle East?
I see it unlikely that Libya will have a fulfilling role regionally now because they've got so many internal problems. However, what we are seeing is that because of this destabilization, it's become a melting pot for future generations of potential terrorists, jihadis, who might want to push back. Now, this, of course, means that people who went to fight in Libya during the overthrow of Gaddafi are now, the authorities in Europe, for example, are worried that they might go back to their home countries and wreak more terror. Now, I think it's fairly unlikely, because most of them have moved on to Syria, but they're worried about it, and therefore they use it as an excuse to ram through yet more draconian laws to spy on their own populations. They use it as an excuse to have secret courts in the UK. So you asked who are the main players. One of the key main players from the revolution in Libya was a man called Abdel Hakim Belhaj. Now, he's very interesting. He's currently the military leader in Tripoli, one of the revolutionary forces, and he was actually arrested captured by MI6 and the CIA and extraordinarily rendered back from the Far East to Libya in 2004. He was offered as a gift to Colonel Gaddafi to cement the deal in the desert. And he was then held for 6 years, he was tortured, and all this came out after the overthrow of Gaddafi when papers emerged from their intelligence agency, proving that MI6 had offered this guy up as a gift. Now, he's now trying to sue the UK government, he's trying to sue MI6, he's trying to sue the former Foreign Secretary, Jack Straw, and many others for this inhuman treatment. Because of this case, MI6 and MI5 have persuaded the government to institute something called secret courts, so that evidence does not need to be aired in public. Wow. These secret courts are not just for civil matters like Belhaj, they're now being extended into criminal trials as well. Terrorist trials. So this does away with 800 years of habeas corpus from Magna Carta onwards, just because of this nebulous threat of terrorism for someone who was actually terrorized by the UK state. Yeah.
And then they could definitely hide from accountability from all the wrongdoings that they've been caught throughout years and years of doing. Now, it seems like the West, especially the U.S. government, their kind of goal is to destabilize the region. That's what they've been doing in Iraq and Afghanistan. Right now, also supporting Israel and Palestine. It seems like the whole area is extremely destabilized. Do you think that's the overall goal of the West? Do you think there's a plan for the Middle East? Or do you think that they're just making up things as they're going along?
I think it's probably a bit of both. I think the original plan was to bring democracy, seize power in these countries, and get their hands on the oil wealth. It's also been an excellent excuse for the USA to encircle Iran with many, many military bases and control their last enemy in the Middle East. So I think that's how it started out. However, events have run out of their control. They cannot put the genie back in the bottle. We have a situation now where in each of these countries, so-called Islamic fundamentalists or terrorists are springing up, and they've created a situation that's run out of their control. And I think also the US is militarily overstretched. They're going to find it very difficult to stamp their power on the region now. And certainly, if they wanted to get oil money and things like that from places like Libya or Iraq, they're not going to get it now because the places are too destabilized. Yeah. They can't make any money out of these countries.
It's like order out of chaos, but also it's like they're shooting themselves in the foot. And now we have Iran even fighting ISIS, the soldiers that were financed by Saudi Arabia and Qatar to get rid of Assad. So it seems like they're switching sides all the time, and it's a very confusing situation, to say the least. Is there anything else you have to say about the Middle East, the region that's happening right now, or your prediction to what's going to happen in the future in the region?
I think whatever happens, the US has lost control and its grip on that region. There's no doubt about it. So they might have wanted to build up military presence. They might have wanted to control the oil revenues. They might have wanted to box Iran in, not least, by the way, to grab its oil and its natural gas reserves, but also to stop it trading those reserves, trading that oil in euros, which is what they've started to do, rather than using the dollar, which would, of course, undercut the petrodollar hegemony. So I think the situation now means that it has run out of control. The US can't get it back. And they've also set the seeds for a whole region which can breed a new generation of freedom fighters, terrorists, whatever you want to call them. And it's going to be a massive conflagration. I mean, just watching the ease with which ISIS has rolled over Syria, has rolled over Iraq, how are they going to deal with that?
Yeah. It's a very insane situation. Luckily, there's whistleblowers like yourself who are able to blow the whistle on a lot of corruption, a lot of things, and get deep inside geopolitical knowledge that we don't know about and we're not privy to because of your experience, because of your analysis, which I want to thank you so much. And also, we've been having a separate talk about you launching your own YouTube channel, which is going to be right here in the annotations. You could click right now, and I definitely recommend to subscribe to Annie's channel. She's going to have a lot of amazing breakdowns every week. But Annie, what can we expect from your YouTube channel? What information are you going to be providing out there for the people? And can you give us the link or website where we could find out more information about you?
Yes, I mean, already I do a lot of media interviews and things about current affairs, issues such as Ukraine and the Middle East and civil liberties and spies and whistleblowers and everything like that. So I hope that my channel on YouTube will just be a slightly more irreverent take, delving beneath the surface and trying to get to grips with what's really going on rather than what the mainstream media is telling us. Yeah. And any information can be found on my website, which is anniemachon.ch. And it's based in Switzerland, because Switzerland is the only country that will protect your websites from takedowns from the USA.
And it's also very friendly to the user. Can you tell us about that as well?
Yeah, well, I mean, I try and walk the walk as well as talk the talk. So I'm a privacy activist. I want to ensure that we're not needlessly spied on in the internet. Now, of course, post-Snowden, I know that that's very seriously needed. I mean, but I've always known this. So my website is sort of tailor-made in order to respect the privacy of those who view it. There are no cookies. There's all sorts of advice on how to protect your privacy on the internet as well. So it's not monetized. It's very, very security conscious. And it's full of a wealth of information, not just about intelligence, but a whole range of world affairs. So.
Yes. Annie's fighting the good fight. She's doing it ethically. She's doing the right thing. Don't forget to subscribe to her channel. Check out her website. Amazing work with not only deep geopolitical knowledge and information, historical knowledge and current events, but also you do a lot of work with LEAP. You do a lot of work with privacy. A lot of amazing work with just aspects that are extremely important. So don't forget to check out the website and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you again so much for watching.